You're listening to Can I Get an Amen Presents 40 Days of Lenten Reflections with me, Christy Fredu, joined by my friends. For the next 40 days, we'll reflect, pray, and prepare our hearts together.
All right, we are here. I think I say all right before every one of them, but because it's all right. Here, Let There Be Light, Lenten series, and Miss Tonia Cormier is back to talk about her favorite topic, the love of God. I feel like this was so of course this was fun. I know. The love of God. Oh gosh. So deep, huh? And so vast. It is. I think when I look at that, I think the love of God, and I think about how each of us are his image, his likeness. So it's not like the love of God, it's the love of all. And you know, I have such a deep love for people. Mm-hmm. And it's been a journey for sure. You know, my younger self probably would have been like, I don't like you as much. Yeah. But I think I've learned, I pray so much, for the God lenses. Yeah. Like, give me your eyes. I just want your eyes because I'm having a hard time. Yeah. And so for us to understand and know and how to find that love in everybody we meet is difficult. It's especially difficult when it's difficult people to love. It is. And when it's sometimes the difficult person is ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. And he still calls us to do it anyways. Yes. Absolutely. Which is what this chapter is about. You were telling me before, that God calls us to love when it's uncomfortable. Yes. I actually read, we'll have a shout out to Father Clinton Sinsat. He did a wonderful write-up this morning. And he was talking about, the commandments of, how God calls us to be without those stipulations. He gave a reference of if you steal from a poor person, is it the same as stealing from a rich person? And the answer is yes, you're still stealing. Like God said, thou shalt not steal, And so I think in our world today that we try to put people in boxes and in categories of we should just, love the poor and not the rich, or we should just love the rich and not the poor, And so there's all these little categories that we try to put people in, and God just says, I want you to love. Period. Yeah, because love is risky, right? We can't love unless we take a risk. Yes. And it's safe to put people in boxes because that keeps us safe. Yeah. It gives us a sense of security that that's those people, but I'm these people, or that's, what they do. And God calls us to love uncomfortably. He calls us to stretch our thinking. He causes us to question, which is why I think he loves our questions, because then we're really getting uncomfortable. Yeah. Not just saying we know the answer, we know who that person is, but when we enter into somebody else's life willingly, whether it's for a moment in the grocery store or a friend in need, we're allowing God to show us who that person truly is, so we can love them and not love them based off of our own security or insecurity. Absolutely. I went to the eye doctor yesterday and they had K-Love playing. Mm-hmm. And two gentlemen sat down beside me, and one of the men looked at me and he was dancing and he said, I like this. I said, oh, it's K-Love. And he said, oh, I listened to K-Love for years and I stopped. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, really? He said, yeah, I used to go to church too and I'm not sure why. And so the man on the side of him said, oh, well, where'd you go? And so he told them that they made a connection. They had went to the same church at one time. And it's like, I need to go back. And I thought, wow, that one little instance of the doctor's office playing K-Love, could have brought these two men back to church. And that is the love of God, like in live in action.
That's a cool witness.
And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, whoa, like just in awe of,
Those are the moments that really do bring so much joy and light to our days.
So much joy, for sure.
What are some final thoughts that you have on this topic, or a reflection question maybe that you want us to ponder on the love of God?
So for this week, I was thinking, how does God reveal his love to us? How do we receive God's love? So, what are those moments in your life when you feel most love from God? How does he reveal himself basically to you? And then ask God how you show love to him. What are those moments that he would just delight? I have those visions of God, just that happy Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's my daughter. Like, what are those moments?
That's such a good way for us to enter our prayer into that imaginative is the right word. Imaginatory. Sometimes I like to make up words. Imaginative prayer of closing our eyes and asking Jesus those questions.
Yeah.
And just to see him delight in us.
Yes.
Because we need that in the middle of Lent.
Absolutely.
And he does. Yeah, he does. Can I get an amen? An amen.
Strong communication drives strong business.
Look, the illusion is that you're the only one having these problems. And the truth is, everyone has problems with comms.
Kirkpatrick Brands equips leaders to speak with clarity, consistency, and confidence. So teams perform better, clients understand value, and your strategy hits every mark. From higher ed to global leaders in business, in 2026, your message is your advantage. Discover how to maximize that message at kirkpatrickbrands.com.